Good morning, students. In my last class, I discussed various types of production system and various types of production process. Today, I will discuss a new topic of production management, that is plant location. In this topic, today we will cover what is it and what are the factors that affect plant location. Means, what are the factors and what are the elements the industrialist or the entrepreneur have to consider while deciding the location of their plant. So before starting the concept of plant location, first we have to understand what is a plant, what is a location. After that we can able to get a clear idea about plant location. So first we will discuss what is a plant. We can say that plant is an industrial site where actual production takes place, and we can say that plant is an industrial unit where the manufacturer actually produces the goods, operates the machines, and convert one materials into another material. Directly we can say that plant is a factory or building where actual production takes place. Next come to location. Location, we can say that it is a place or an area. Next come to plant location. Plant means an industrial site where actual production takes place, where the manufacturer converts in various inputs into output, and location means a place. So what is the meaning of plant location? Plant location, we can say that it is an identification of an area or place where the plant should be located, where the plant should be operated, and where the plant uh, or where actual production will take place. So we can say that what is the meaning of plant location? Plant location is a process of decision making related to identification of a place where the plant should locate, where the plant should be operated, and where actual production will take place. So, identifying a good location or making decisions related to identifying a proper place for the plant is a very crucial factor or is a very important factor. Every industrialist or the entrepreneur should have to identify a good location for their plant. If they're able to identify a good location for their plant, it always ensures easy and regular supply of raw material, and it provides cheap labor, and that ultimately reduces the cost of production. So how a ideal location reduces the cost of production, let me tell you. If the location if the location of a plant is at a place where the raw materials are available, or raw materials can be procured easily, and where the labor is available, means where cheap labor is available, then farms labor cost minimizes, then farms raw material cost means transportation of raw material transportation cost related to raw material is reduced. So that ultimately leads to reduction of cost of production. Means an ideal location always ensure easy and regular supply of raw materials, and that ideal location helps the organization to get cheap labor, means that helps the organization to reduce the labor cost. If the raw material transportation cost reduces, labor cost reduces, that ultimately leads to reduction in production cost. So every industrialist, every entrepreneur have to identify a good location for their plant. They have to identify a proper location, an ideal location for their plant, and it is not an easy task. Every manufacturer, every industrialist faces a lot of difficulties while selecting a location for their new industry. They have to consider various factors. They should not arbitrarily identify a location for their plant. They have to consider various factors. They have to conduct various surveys for identifying a good location for their plant. If the entrepreneur is not able to identify a good location for their plant, then it brings a huge loss to the organizations. If the industrialists want to shift a plant from one place to another place, it also creates a lot of difficulties, and it is a costly affair. So initially, the entrepreneur or the farm should have to identify a good location for their plant. If the industrialist makes faulty decision related to identification of a location, then sometimes it leads to insolvency of the farm, sometimes it leads to bankruptcy of the farm. So every entrepreneur should have to identify a good location for their plant. An ideal location always provides maximum operating efficiency to the organization, and it helps the farm to reduce its cost of production. No doubt, the ideal location helps the organization, helps the farm to improve operating efficiencies, but it doesn't give guarantee always to the farm that farm will get success if it has ideal locations. It contributes something towards the smooth and perfect and effective uh, working of the industry, working of the organization or firm. So, ideal location doesn't always provide guarantee to the success, rather it contributes certainly towards the smooth and efficient flow of the production. So, every industrialist should have to identify a good location for their plant. If the industrialist is unable to identify a good location for their plant, if they identify an inappropriate location for their plant, then they faces a lot of difficulties, a lot of problem arises to them. What are the problem arises to the farm if the industrialist unable to identify a good location? I will discuss now. Let me discuss all the problems one by one. If the location of plant is not in a proper place, then the industrialist faces the problem of high production cost. Means if the industrialist is unable to find out a proper location for their plant, then he is not able to produce the goods at less cost. Because how if the industry is situated in a place where the material is not available, means they have to procure the material from outside, so, or from where it is available. So they have to procure the raw material to the industry. They have to bring the raw material to the industry through the various medium of transportation. So for that reason, the transportation cost of the organization increases. And if the industry is situated in a place or located in a place where labor is not available, means the industrialist should have to import various labors from the outside. If the labor is imported from outside, generally they charges high labor cost, high wages. So that ultimately increases the labor cost. If the farm's transportation cost increases, if the farm's labor cost increases, that ultimately leads to increase the cost of production. So, if the industrialist is unable to identify a good or ideal location for their plant, then farm's production cost increases. Next problem, what the industrialist will face if the location is inappropriate. The industrialist face the problem of marketing difficulties. If the industry is far away from the market, then if in case in market sudden high demand arises, and in market if the product is not available, means the farm has to send their goods to the market, send the goods to the market, means that unnecessarily increases the transportation cost. And if the market is far away from the industry, then it is not possible for the farm to send their goods to the market in appropriate time. So the demand of the customer sometimes farm is not able to fulfill. So the industry should be located in a place, should be located nearer to the market. Next problem the industrialist will face if the location of plant is in an appropriate place. That is dissatisfaction among employees. If the industrialist is not able to identify an ideal location, then that creates dissatisfaction among employees. Because then, if the industry is situated in a remote area, means the employees are not able to get various facilities, very basic facilities like health facilities, and they are not able to identify an proper educational system. They are not able to identify good educational institutions for their kids, and sometimes they are not able to fulfill their basic requirements easily. So if the industry is far away from the cities, then this creates dissatisfaction among employees. So sometimes this factor leads to absenteeism, leads to turnover. So every industrialist should have to take due care and should have to take utmost care while identifying a good location for their plant. Or if they are not able to identify a proper location, then it brings a huge loss to the organization. So, by considering various factors, by considering various elements, the industrialist should have to identify a proper location for their plant so that farm can able to get success and farm can able to get maximum operating. So plant should be located in a place where raw materials are available, where low labor rates are prevail, and where other facilities are also available. So this is all about the concept of plant location. What is the meaning of plant location? Plant location refers to the identification of a place or an area where the plant should be located, where the plant should operate, where actual production will take place. And appropriate location or a good location helps the farm to get maximum operating efficiency, and that helps the farm to reduce the cost of production. Next comes to meaning of plant location. Already I told you what is the meaning of plant location. Plant location refers to an area or place where the plant will operate to produce goods and services. Means what? Plant location is a decision making process related to identification of an area or place where the plant should be operate, where the plant should locate, or where the plant actually produces the goods and services. Generally goods can be produced and consumed at different places. Means goods can be produced and consumed. Goods cannot be produced and consumed simultaneously. Goods can be produced far away from the customers, but service always produced and consumed simultaneously. So plant location refers to identification of an area where the plant will operate. Next come to definition of plant location. Plant location is defined by various experts in different way. Here I take one definitions for our discussion, that is R.S. Davis definition. According to him, what is plant location? He said that plant location is a function of determining where the plant should be located for maximum operating economy and effectiveness. He said that plant location is a function, means plant location is a process of determining where the plant should be located, where the plant should operate, and that provide maximum operating efficiency to the organization, means that helps the organization to reduce its cost of production. And R.S. Davis also said the same things about plant location. He also said that plant location means it is the process of identifying or determining the place where the plant should be located and where the plant should operate or where the plant going to produce the goods. Next comes to factor of factor affecting. Next I will discuss various factors affecting plant location. In this topic we will cover what are the factors and what are the elements the industrialist or the entrepreneur have to consider while deciding or while identifying the location of their plant. If they consider these factors or these elements for identifying the location must be a ideal one or good one, and that provide maximum operating efficiency to the organization or to the farm, or that helps the farm to produce the goods at less cost. Let me discuss various factors and various elements that affect plant location in a detail. So what are the factors that affect plant location? First factor affecting the plant location is location of market, next availability of raw material, next infrastructure, transportation cost, availability of labor, government policy, climatic factor, community attitude, safety measure, and availability of land. So these are the various factors the industrialists have to consider while determining the location of their plant. Let me discuss all the factors that affect our plant location in a detail. So first factor that affect plant location means the first factor the industrialist should have to consider while identifying a good location for their plant is that location of market. Means industrialists should have to locate their plant in a place that is nearer to the market. So first they have to identify the place which is near to the market, and they make various decisions related to installing their plant in that place. So distance of the market from the plant is a key factor that affect the business. How distance of the market affect the plant's efficiency, or how the distance of the market helps improves the or increases the cost of the production of the farm. If the market is far away from the plant, then the farm has to send the goods to the market through the various medium of transportation. So that unnecessarily increases the cost of production, that unnecessarily increases the transportation cost. And if the transportation cost increases, ultimately production cost increases. And that is the first problem. If the plant is far away from the market, and if the plant is far away from the market, and in case in market any sudden high demand arises, then farm is not able to send their goods immediately to the market for fulfilling the demand. So sometimes the customer switch to another competitors. So the farm had to send their goods to the market at, at appropriate time, so that farm can able to sell their product. So it is possible if the plant is situated or plant is located near to the market. So the industrialist should have to locate the plant nearer to the market, and that helps the organization of farm to reduce its transportation cost. That helps to improve the profit of the that improves the profit of the organization, and that helps to reduce the cost of productions also. And the farm can able to capture more number of customers also, and by providing the product at right time. Next factor the industrialist should have to consider while deciding the location of plant is availability of raw material. Means the industrialist have to identify a location, have to select a location for their plant where the raw material is available. If they select a place where the raw material is not available, means if they procure the raw material from the distance place, then they have to procure the raw material, they have to bring the raw material to the industry through the various medium of transportation, and that unnecessarily increases the transportation cost. Means if the transportation cost increases, farms production cost also increases. So the industrialist should have to locate their industry in a place where raw materials are available. And if the raw materials are available in a particular area, if in that area the plant is situated, then farm get continuously raw material regular. The farm is able to get regularly supply of raw material, so that farm can able to produce goods in a continuous manner, and there is a uninterrupted production of goods. So the plant should have to located in a place where the raw materials are available. So take an example of cement manufacturing industry. Maximum cement manufacturing industry, that is ACC Cement and Ultratech Cement. The Ultratech Cement plant is situated in Karnataka state. Because in Karnataka state, whatever the raw materials required for manufacturing the cement is available. Means the basic raw material required for manufacturing cement is limestone, and in Karnataka state there are sufficient amount of limestones. So they can able to this industry can able to get their raw materials easily easily from that place. So the industrialist, also the manufacturer of cement, decided to locate their plant in Karnataka state. So the plant should have to locate their industry in a place where the raw material is available. Next, the factors. Next factor the industrialist should have to consider while deciding the location of the plant is infrastructure. Infrastructure also plays a vital role while deciding the location of a plant. Availability of infrastructure is a major factor. So if a particular place is developed, infrastructurally developed, Then if the industrialists set their location in that place, then they are able to get various facilities easily. Take example of aluminum and steel industry. Generally, aluminum and steel industry are power intensive. They consume heavy power. In steel industry, generally steel industry requires heavy power for converting the solid metals into liquid metals. So for that reason, this type of industry have to be located in a place where the power is generated. Take the example of Vizag Steel Plant. Vizag Steel Plant is situated in Visakhapatnam due to getting getting power, due to getting energies easily, due to getting energies more efficiently. They get their energies from NTPC, and that is also situated, that is a power generation site, and that is situated in Visakhapatnam. Means the industrialist should have to locate their industry in a place the where there are various facilities available, and if that place is infrastructurally developed, then only the industrialists have to make various decisions to install their plants. Next factor the industrialist should have to consider, that is transportation cost. This is a very important element the industrialist should have to consider. If the transportation cost of the farm increases, that ultimately increases the production cost. The main objective of the farm is to produce the goods at less cost. So for that reason, they have to minimize their transportation cost, and they have to locate their industry where transportation cost can be minimized, and where the raw materials, labor, and whatever the other resources they can get easily. They have to decide to locate their industry in that place. If the transportation cost increases, that ultimately increases the production cost. So the industrialist should have to take due consideration related to minimizing the transportation cost while uh, deciding the location of their plant. Next factor the industrialist should have to consider is availability of labor. Means they have to locate their industry in a particular place where labors are available, means where cheap labor wages, labor rate is available. They have to take decisions to install their plant in that particular place. If the plant is located in a particular place where no labor is available, means the plant or the farm has to import the labor from outside. If they import the labor from outside, generally this type of labor charges high wages, and the farm's labor cost also increases. If the farm's labor cost increases, that ultimately leads to increase in cost of production. So for minimizing the cost of production, farm has to identify a location where low labor rate is prevail, and where labor are available easily. Next factor the industrialist has to consider while deciding the plant location, that is government policy. Means they have to consider the various rules regulations of government. So rules regulation related to what? Rules regulation of government related to labor law, license, subsidy in electricity charges, availability of loan, etc. And that affects the location of the plants also. Plants main intention is to produce the goods at minimum cost. Sometimes government announces that if the industrialists set their plant in a particular area, they may get subsidy in electricity charges, they may get easy license, and they may get easy loan, and they can get subsidy in tax payments also. So the government's main intention for providing this type of facilities is to develop that particular remote area, is to improve that area. So the industrialist should have to identify such type of locations to avail to get various benefits that is given by the government. So the industrialist or the entrepreneur have to find out a place, a location where these type of facilities are available, and where these types of facilities provided by the government. The industrialist should have to make decisions for installing their plant in that particular area. Next factor that affect plant location is climatic factor. For some industry, climatic condition plays a vital role. Means some industry have to identify a location by considering the climatic condition on that particular area. So take example of textile mills. Textile mills generally require a place where high humidity is available. Means in India, in Surat, there are maximum textile industries are situated. What is the reason behind establishing textile industry in Surat? In Surat, there is high humidity, so that helps the textile farm to operate in a perfect way. So the industrialist or the entrepreneur of textile mills have to consider the climatic factor for selecting an ideal location. They have to select a location where the climatic condition is suitable for them, where the climate is humid. Next factor he has to consider for locating a plant is community attitude. Community attitude also plays a vital role for selecting a good location. If the community people um, protest to installing a plant, then the farm is not able to install their plant in that particular area. If the community people support the industry to install their plant in that particular area, then only it is possible to install their plant at that particular area. So in 2008, Tata changes its location due to the protest of community attitude. Means in 2008, Tata want to install their plant at West Bengal, but due to the community attitude of the people, due to the protest of the people, they shift their plant to the Gujarat. So community attitude also plays a vital role while identifying or while selecting the location of a plant. Next factor the industrialists should have to consider, that is safety measures. So they have to select a place or a location where that place gives maximum safety measures to the industry. Means for some industry, safety measures plays an important factor while deciding the location. In case of nuclear plant, there is a possibilities of radiation leakage. So this type of industry should have to locate in a place that is far away from the cities, and this type of industry should have to locate in a remote area. So safety measures also they have to consider. And last factor, the industrialist should have to consider while identifying a good location, that is availability of land. Means they have to identify a location where there is proper land available. Means if in that area it is possible for them to grow, it is possible for them to extend their plants, then only they have to identify their location in that particular area. So availability of land is also plays a major factor for identifying the location. If they have sufficient land, if they have enough space for production and parking facilities, then only they have to take decisions to install their plant in that particular area. So plant location is a very important. Plant identification of a good location for the plant is a very crucial factor, very important decisions. The industrialists have to consider various factors while deciding the plant. These are the various factors the industrialists have to consider while identifying a good location for their plant. If they consider these factors, these elements while deciding the location of a plant, then we can say that location of the plant is a good or ideal one, and that gives maximum operating benefits to the organization. And if the farm is unable to identify a good location for their plant, that unnecessarily brings huge loss to the organization, and shifting of a plant from one place to another place is a costly effort. So initially, the industrialist or the entrepreneur have to identify a good location by considering various factors, by conducting various surveys. So they can able to identify a good location for their plant. This is all about our today's class.